Hey everybody, welcome to a support video. This one's an Understanding Linear Functions version 3 and 4. So I'm just going to go through the process to identify the y equals mx plus b for each of these lines. So hopefully this is comfortable for you and makes sense, but if not, this tutorial will kind of help you correct and also help you understand in case I go too quickly in class or you miss something. Anyways, so in this case here with the first line number 1 here, you'd ask yourself, do you see where it crosses the y-axis? Because if you can see that, that's where it starts, right? So that means that's the b in the y equals mx plus b equation, slope-intercept form. And since I can't see where it crosses the y-axis exactly right now, I'm going to look at the slope. So if I can't find the y-axis quickly, then I'll look at the slope and then maybe use that to help me out. The slope of any line is the ratio change in y over change in x. So from one dot to the next on the line, how far up versus how far over. And this one is up 1, and to the right, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So to the right, 6, which means the slope ratio for this particular line is just going to be equal to, let me move this down. So the slope ratio for this line is going to be that the slope is 1 over 6, positive 1/6. Remember, a positive slope means it's going up from left to right. Negative slope will be going down from left to right. Remember, a slope of 1/6 absolute value is going to be gradual, not too steep, right? Anything that's like a slope of 1, when you have x and y axis that are labeled with the same interval, is going to look like a 45-degree angle. Anything that's greater than a slope of 1 is going to look like greater than a 45-degree angle when x and y have the same interval. And anything that is gradual is going to be between 0 and 1, absolute value as a slope. All right, so we have our slope value here, which means up 1 to the right 6. I'm going to continue that movement and look what happens. Up 1 and to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 puts me directly on the y-axis. So I can see that if I were to extend that pattern out, it will cross the y-axis at 5. That's pretty cool. So that means I also know that the b value for this line is 5. Which means that I know y equals mx plus b for that line. That line is going to be y equals, right, 1/6 of x plus 5. And that's how you do that line. Pretty easy, right? That one's an easy one. Let's look at another one. So another one we're going to look at is number 2. This one obviously has a negative slope because it's going down. It's pretty steep, so I would expect a slope that is greater than 1, absolute value. And it's going to be negative. Now, I don't see where it crosses the y-axis or the x-axis cleanly, so I'm going to just kind of take this and find the slope here. Let's investigate this one in blue. So how far down do I have to go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 down. So the slope is going to be -4 change in y. And then how far to the right do I have to go? Looks like 1 unit to the right. So it's going to be a positive 1 change in x. So your slope for this one is going to be -4 over positive 1, change in y over change in x. So your slope for that line is just going to be -4 over positive 1, which is -4. Okay. Now, because I don't see where it crosses the y-axis, and I don't think I could find it by just moving the slope, on this one, I'm going to then take a look at each of these ordered pairs, and I'm going to use them to help me out. So if I look at these ordered pairs here, the first one here is -12, comma -1, and the next one is -11, comma -5. Okay, so I'm going to look at those two ordered pairs and use that with the slope to help me figure out the equation of this line. So in this case here, we know it's going to be a slope of -4. So we know that the slope is -4. And we know that the ordered pair that we're going to use, let's just use this one, -11, -5. So we have this x value, this y value, and the slope right there. All right, so once I know that, I can plug into y equals mx plus b and figure out what the y-intercept is. So y equals mx plus b. I have the m, -4. I have the x value of -11. And I have the b value, or the y value of -5. So I just got to solve for b. In this case, -4 times -11 is positive 44. So I know that -5 is equal to positive 44 plus whatever b is. I want to solve for b, so I'll get b by itself. How do I undo plus 44? You're going to minus 44 from both sides. And then -5 minus 44 is going to be -49. And so that means that our y-intercept is -49. And now we know the full equation of this line. It's going to be y equals -4 times x minus 49. Let me just fix the writing there. And there you go. Okay, so that's our second line. You can check it with the negative 12, negative 1 point. So negative 4 times negative 12 is going to be positive 48. Positive 48, negative 12. Yeah, negative 12. Yeah, positive 48 minus 49 is going to be negative 1. And you can see that the y value is negative 1. So it works. All right, let's look at number 3. Okay, line number 3 is going to be a positive slope. So it's going up from left to right. Looks like it's not too steep. So I'd still say between 0 and 1 absolute value. And let's take a look at it. So here we go. Let's do this one in purple. So our change in y is up 2. Our change in x is to the right 3. So we've got a slope of positive 2 over positive 3. And let's write it in. So change in y, positive 2, change in x, positive 3. And so we know our slope in this case happens to be 2/3. Okay. Now, if I move the slope, do I get back to the y-axis? Let's try it. So up 2 into the right 3 is the same as down 2 into the left 3. So if I go down 2 into the left 3, it does look like I cross exactly at negative 8. So I do know the y-intercept there as well. So that's nice. So this one's an easy one to do. We know the equation for this one is going to be y equals 2/3 x and then minus 8. And that's it. Crosses at negative 8 on the y-axis and has a slope of 2/3. Okay. Number 4, line number 4 is a proportional line. It goes through the origin. So on a proportional line, you know that the y-intercept and x-intercept are both the origin, 0, 0. And then the slope of this line is the only thing you got to figure out, really. And the slope for this line is up 1, 2, 3, and to the right 1. So that means that our slope for this line is just going to be 3 over 1. So plus 3 plus 1. So our slope is just going to be 3 for that line. And since it's proportional, it's really simple. The equation is going to be y equals kx, where k is the slope. So that means it's going to be y equals 3x. That's simple. All right. When you're doing the horizontal and vertical lines, remember a horizontal line like number 5 is a y equals line. And where does it cross the y-axis? At 6. All the y values are all 6. So that's just y equals 6. And then the vertical line is an x equals line. Where does it cross the x-axis? It crosses at 7. So this is going to be x equals 7. And so that's it. So you got your y equals 6 for number 5. And you got your x equals 7 for number 6. And the y equals lines are left to right horizontal. And the x equals lines are your vertical lines, right? It's the entire straight line where x is 7. Okay, taking a look at your other page here, the first thing you're going to do is look at line number 1. Does it look like we can see where it crosses the y-axis? Not yet. So let's just let's stop there, and I'll do part 2 next time.